Hi, everybody. Well, it's another week 13, and we are going to be discussing chapter 18, which is all about characteristics of the emerging market, infrastructure issues, and property rights and capital market. Let's just do an overview of our chapter on international business. We have the global human resource management. So when we're looking at human resource management, it refers to the activities an organization carries out to utilize the human resource effectively. These activities include determining the firm's human resource strategy, staffing, performance evaluation, management development, comprehension, labor relations. The human resource management can help the firm reduce the cost of the value creation and add value by better serving customer needs. The HRM is more complex in international business because the differences between countries and labor markets, culture, legal systems, economic systems, and so on. Human resource management also determine when to use expert managers, citizens of one country working abroad who should be sent on foreign assignments, and how they should be compensated, and how they should be trained, and how they can be reorientated when they return home. It's commercial. At least it's silent, but we do have a commercial. A strategic role in the international human resource management. Firms need to ensure that the fit between the human resource practices and strategy. In order to carry out strategy effectively, employees need the right training, appropriate compensation package, and good performance appraisal system. We have the role of human resources in shaping organizational architecture, structure, processes, people, incentives, controls, culture. Human resources responsible for these aspects. A firm's staffing policy is concerned with the selection of employees who have skills perform a particular job. A staffing policy can be a tool for developing and promoting a firm's corporate culture, the organization's norms and value system. A strong corporate culture can help with the firm's employment strategy. There are three major approaches to staffing policy within international business: the ethnocentric approach, polycentric approach, and geocentric approach. The three types of staffing approaches for international firms include all the following except for transnational, ethnocentric, geocentric, and polycentric. The ethnocentric approach to staffing policy fills key management positions with parent country nationals. It makes sense for firms with the international strategy. Firms that pursue an ethnocentric policy believe that there is a lack of qualified individuals in a host country to fill the senior management positions. It's the best way to maintain a unified corporate culture. Value can be created by transferring more competencies to a foreign operational via parent country nationals. The ethnocentric staffing policy is no longer popular with most firms because it limits advancement opportunities to host country nationals. It can lead to cultural myopia. Polycentric staffing policy recruits host country nationals to manage subsidiaries in their own country and parent country nationals for a position at headquarters. It makes sense for firms pursuing a localization strategy. Polycentric approach can minimize the cultural myopia, may be less expensive to implement than ethnocentric policy. There are two advantages in the polycentric approach. Host country nationals have limited opportunities to gain experience outside their own country and thus cannot progress beyond senior positions in their own subsidiaries. A gap can be between the host country managers and parent country managers. A genocentric staffing policy seeks to best people, regardless of nationality, for key jobs. The approach is consistent with the building of a strong unified culture and informal management network. It makes sense for firms pursuing either a global or transnational strategy. Immigration policies of national government may limit the ability of a firm to pursue policy. The genocentric approach enables a firm to make the best use of human resources, builds a cadre of international executives who feel at home working in a number of different cultures, can be limited by immigration laws, and is costly to implement. Comparison of staffing approaches. We have firms using what? What do you think they are using? The firms want to pursue national, they pursue what? Expedite failure is premature return of expedite manager in his or her own country. Between 16 to 40% of American expedites in developing countries fail to complete their assignments, and almost 70% of Americans assigned to developing countries return home early, and the expedite failure can cost between $250,000 and $1 million. Research shows the main reasons of expedite failure for U.S. multinationals are the ability to expedite spouse, to adapt to inability of an employer to adjust, the manager's inability to adjust, other family-related reasons, the manager's personal emotional maturity, the manager's ability to cope with larger overseas responsibilities. The European firm's only one reason was found to consistently explain the expediter failure, the inability of a manager's spouse to adjust to a new environment. For Japanese firms, the reason for failures are the inability to cope with larger overseas responsibilities, difficulties in new environment, personal emotional growth, lack of technical competence, and inability of a spouse to adjust. Firms can reduce the expedite failure through the improved section approach. 4 dimensions that predict expedite success are self-orientation, the expedite self-esteem, self-confidence, and mental well-being. Other orientation, the ability to interact effectively with host country nationals, perceptual ability, ability to understand why people or other countries behave the way they do, cultural toughness, the ability to adjust the position. We have global mindset. Global mindset may be a fundamental attribute of a global manager. A global mindset is also required early in life for a bicultural, lives in a foreign countries and learns foreign languages as a regular part of family. Training focuses upon preparing the manager for a specific job. Management development is concerned with developing skills and manager over his or her career with the firm. Historically, most firms focus on training other than management development. Cultural training seeks to foster the appreciation for the host country's culture, language training, and executive reliance in English dimensions, and expedite managers' ability to interact in a host country nationals and practical training helps the expedite manager and the family cease themselves into the day-to-day host country. They have all the help to reduce expedite failure. Yet, according to one study, only about 30% of managers sent the 1 to 5 expedite assignments receive training before their departure. Preparing and developing expedite managers for re-entry to their home country. Organization is an important part of the training and development. The HRM needs to develop the good program for reintegrating expedites back to the work life with their home country. Organization, once the foreign assessment is over, and utilizing the knowledge they required while abroad. Management development programs increase the overall skill levels of managers by ongoing management education, rotations of managers through jobs within a firm to give them varied experiences. Management development is often used as a strategic tool to build a strong unifying culture and informal management network, both their supportive and multinational global strategy. Performance appraisal systems are part of the firm's control system. Evaluating expedites can especially be complex. Typically, both the nation managers and home office managers evaluate performance of the expedite managers. Both types of managers are subject to intentional bias. Home country managers tend to rely on the hard data when evaluating expedites, while the host country managers can be biased toward their own frame of reference. To reduce bias of performance appraisal, most expedites believe that the weight should be given to the on-site manager's appraisal than the off-site manager's appraisal. Before an expedite who has served in the same location could be involved with the appraisal process to help reduce bias. When foreign on-site managers write performance evaluation, a home office manager should be consulted before on-site manager completes the formal termination evaluation. Firms face two key issues on compensation: how to adjust compensation to reflect differences in economic circumstances, and compensation practices, how to pay expedite managers. Most firms use the balance sheet approach to pay. This equalizes performance, purchasing power across countries so employees have the same living standards in their foreign posting at home. An expedite compensation package is made up of base salary, a foreign and service premium, various allowances, tax differentials, and benefits. Base salary. An expedite base salary is normally the same range as a base salary for a similar position in home country. Base salary can be paid whether in home currency or local currency. Foreign service premium. A foreign service premium is extra space an expedite receives for working outside his or her country of origin. It's generally offered as incentive to adapt to foreign assignments. Allowances. Expedite compensation package often includes hardship allowances, housing allowances, cost of living allowances, education allowances. Taxation. Expedite may have to pay income tax to both the home country and the host country governments. If both home country does not have a reciprocal tax treaty with expedite's home country benefits, many firms provide the same level of medical and pension benefits abroad they received at home. The key issue of the internal labor relations is the degree to which the organized labor is able to limit the choices available in international business. A firm's ability to pursue a national or global strategy can be significantly constrained by the actions of the labor unions. The human resource management needs to foster harmony and minimize conflict between the firm and organized labor. The bargaining power of the unions comes from their ability to threaten to disrupt the production by striking and protesting. However, organized labor is concerned that multinationals can counter union bargaining power by threatening to move production to another country. Multinationals can farm out the low-skilled jobs to foreign plants, making it easier to switch production locations. Multinationals will import the employment practices and contractual agreements from their home countries and reduce influence unions. Organized labor has reported increasing bargaining power of multinational corporations by trying to set up their own international organizations, lobbying for national legislation to restrict the multinationals, trying to achieve regulations of multinationals through international organizations such as the United Nations. However, these efforts have only limited success. In the past, labor relations have usually been decentralized into individual subsidiaries. Today, many firms are centralizing labor relations in order to enhance the bargaining power of the multinational versus organized labor. Many firms are recognizing that the way that the work is organized within a plant can be a major source of competitive advantage. Okay, continuing with this chapter. Human resource management refers to the activities the organization carries out to utilize the human resources. This include determining the firm's human resource strategy, staffing, performance evaluation, the management development, compensation, labor relations. I think I did this one already. Let's see. Yeah, they're pretty much the same. Go click out of that one. Okay, emerging markets. A list of 25 multinationals, characteristics of the BRIC economies, table showing developed and emerging markets, BRIC countries, non-BRIC countries, and challenges. According to Chulu of the University of Iowa Center of International Finance and Development, emerging markets are countries that are restructuring their economies along with the market-oriented lines and offer a wealth of opportunities in trade, technology transfers, and foreign direct investment. The term emerging markets was coined by Antoinette van Aguero and dates back to 1981. Emerging market economies, the BRIC, economies of the economies of Brazil, Russia, India, and China. BRIC termed by Jim O'Neill with Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs by 2050, combined economies of BRICS would eclipse the combined economies in the current richest countries of the world. These countries can pass about 25% of the world's land coverage and 40% of the world's population, and hold a combined GDP, a PPP, of $15.435 trillion. These four countries are among the biggest and fastest growing emerging markets. Commercial time. Oops, sorry, it's frozen for a second. Okay. Agenda. We are continuing talking about the five nationals. Here's some examples of them and the countries. Some of the key characteristics of the BRIC economies are, firstly, they are regional economic powerhouses with large population, large resource bases, and large markets. Their economic success will spur development in the countries around them, but if they experience an economic crisis, they can bring their neighbors down with them. Secondly, they're a transnational societies that are undertaking domestic economies and political reforms. Thirdly, they are the world's fastest growing economies, contributing a great deal of the world's explosive growth trade. By 2020, the five biggest emerging markets share of the world output will double to about 16.1 from 7.8 in 1992. They'll also become significant buyers of goods and services in utilized countries. They're critical participants in the world's largest political, economic, and social affairs. They're seeking a larger voice in the international politics and bigger slice of the global economic pie. There's developed countries, more countries, more countries, more countries. Here's some examples. They said Brazil, Russia, India, China. This is some insight on Brazil. Largest and most populous country in South America, the fifth largest country by geographic area, the fifth most populous country in the world, fourth most populous democracy in the world. Moderate free market and export. and the 10th largest economy in the world, second largest in Americas, measured by purchasing power party of the Americas after the United States, attracted 248.9 billion worth of FDI, 16th biggest recipient of the FDI, ahead of places like Japan and South Korea. Agriculture 5.5, industry 28.7, services 65.8. Agriculture and commodities. In foreign markets, it answers to 25% of global exports of the raw cane and refined sugar, the world leader in soybean exports, and is responsible for 80% of the plant's orange juice. A pioneer and leader in manufacture of short fiber timber cellulose, Brazil has also achieved positive results within the packaging sector to the 5th largest world producer. Brazil accounts for about 3/5 of the South American economy industrial production, accounting for about 1/3 of the GDP. Brazil's diverse industries range from automobiles, steel, petrochemicals, computers, air draft, consumer durables. Top companies among diversified industries are Embracer and Agrocellulose. Brazil is diverse and sophisticated service industries as well. During the early 1990s, the banking sector accounted for as much as 16% of the GDP. Top performers in the sectors are Banco Bradesco and Banco do Brasil. Embracer, headquartered in Sao Paulo, Brazil. It's a Brazilian aerospace conglomerate. The company produces commercial, military, and corporate aircraft, as well as providing related aerospace services. It's manufacturing commercial sites in the USA and commercial offices in France, Singapore, and China. It's recently replaced Canada, based on Bombardier, to become the 3rd largest producer of aircrafts. As July 8, 2008, Embracer had a workforce of 23,885 people and a firm order backlog totaling about $20.7 billion US dollars. Embracer, its products it's been delivered more than 1,000 aircrafts. In 2003, Embracer entered a partnership with Harbor Aircraft Manufacturing Corporation in Harbor, Chinito, produce ERJ-145 for the Chinese market. Some of its key consumers are Air Forces of Brazil and Colombia. Here you go, some examples. We have Petrobras. Petrobras is a semi-public Brazilian energy company headquartered in Rio de Janeiro and founded in 1953. It ranked about 81 in the Forbes Global list for 2000 by annual ranking of the top 2,000 public commodities in the world by Forbes magazine. A significant oil producer and output of these about 2 million barrels of oil equivalent per day, as well as major distributor of oil products. It operated the world's largest oil platform, Petrobras 36 oil platform, until explosion of 15 March 2001 led to the sinking of 20 March 2001. Petrobras is a world leader in the development of advanced technology in deep water and ultra-deep water oil production. Petrobras works extensively with foreign acquisitions too, buying and controlling the most important energy companies in South America and exploring the deep water fields of West Africa and the Gulf of Mexico. Is a major Brazilian manufacturer of pulp. It's headquartered in Sao Paulo, and the company is the world's supplier of the bleach eucalyptus pulp. Its yearly revenue of 2007 was the US $2.79 billion in 2009. Is multi-diverse mining multinational corporation and one of the largest logistics operations in Brazil. In addition to being the 2nd largest mining company in the world, it's also the largest producers of iron ore, pellets, and 2nd largest of nickel. In the electric energy sector, the company participates in Cochisa and currently operates 9 hydroelectric plants. Vale has managed to establish itself as a global mining company through joint ventures and acquisition abroad. Vale has participation in mining operations in Finland, Canada, Australia, Mongolia, China, India, Angola, South America, Chile, Peru, and other countries. Example of the map. Once again, now we're looking at Russia. Russia is the 10th biggest economy. Currency is a Russian ruble. GDP is about 2.76 trillion. And that was in 2007. GDP capita is 14,600. GDP by sector, agriculture 4.6, industry 39.1, services 56.3, inflation 11.1 and 11.9. We have distribution here. There's some more pie graphs. 1998 was the Russian financial crisis. 2007 was the boom in capital investments. Oil and gas dominate Russia exports, heavily depend on the price of energy. Aggregate fixed capital investment grew to 21.2% in the M-3 of 2007. Major sectors, oil and gas, power, engineering, financial services, automotive, transport, information, communications, technology. Other sectors, construction, creative industries, healthcare, biotechnology, pharmaceuticals, drink and food, and we have a sport and leisure infrastructure. The world's second largest oil producing country is up by 14% of the world's proved oil in reserves and 36% of the world gas reserves. The growth requires development of major deposits in inaccessible regions in the Arctic zone would need world's best technologies, equipment, and engineering. 2006 growth in manufacturing industries by 4.8, with some engineering companies recording an annual growth of 14%. The need to upgrade or replace the oil production equipment and technologies, looking for suppliers of relevant equipment as they believe in foreign equipment and technologies are advanced and more reliable. The ICT is the fastest developing sectors in the Russian economy. Annual growth is about 20 to 25%, and Russian mobile telecommunications in the market is the third largest in the world. One of the most dynamic industries in the world, we're looking at automotive. 2006, fifth largest passengers car selling country in Europe. We have airports, growth in air traffic numbers. 360 airports need restructuring and investment. Railroad, second largest railroad network, 100% state-owned. Here's some countries. Growth is likely to remain robust, with energy prices set to remain high. Booming domestic demand will continue to translate into a strong growth of services and manufacturing. Lowest PEs in the global marketing arena. Remarkable degree of economic stability over the last 5 years. India, second fastest growing economy, second most populous country, fourth largest economy in purchasing power, world's 12th largest economy at the market exchange rates, has most populous democracy in the world. For 1991, we had semi-socialist approach, strict government control over private sector participation, foreign trade, foreign direct investment. Since 1991, India has gradually opened up the markets through economic reforms and reduced government controls on foreign trade and investment. Privatization of publicly owned companies and opening of certain sectors to provide and foreign participation has continued amid political debate. Average GDP growth rate is about 5.7 in the past 2 decades. Automotive, information technology, pharmaceutical, and biotechnology. This is the 10th largest sector in the world with annual production of approximately 2 million units. A number of domestic companies produce automobiles in India, and growing presence of the multinational investments too has led to an increase of overall growth. Size of the market, structure of the market, major domestic and international players, and opportunities and growth potential. U.S. 34 billion in industry, exports constitute 5 of the revenues. 11 billion vehicles produced in India in the 2006 to 2007. However, India still has a low vehicle penetration. Only 3 cars, 52 wheelers, about 1,000 individuals. Structure in the market. Industry has a mix of large domestic private players like Tata Motors, Mahara and Mahara, Ashok Leyland and Bali, Auto, Hero, Honda, and major international players like Suzuki, GM, Ford, Delmar, Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, Renault, VW, and Volvo. All major international players have set up manufacturing capabilities in India. Here you go with some major domestic international players. Advantage for investing, low cost, high skill manpower with abundance of the engineering talent, the second largest in the world, established automobile testing and R&D centers, among the lowest cost producers of steel in the world, opportunity to address global auto market while leveraging the domestic market. We have size of the market, infrastructure of the market, major IT and ITES companies and opportunities. India's leading destination for providing IT and IT-enabled services with revenues of about US 40 billion in 2006 to 7. The industry has three broad characteristics or categories of the company. Indian IT and ITS companies ranging from large companies, Tata Consultancy Services, Infosys, Wipro, HCL, to small niche companies. Global IT companies such as IBM, Dell, Microsoft, HP, Accenture, all of whom set up development centers in India. Captive back office operations in the large global operations like JP Morgan, American Express, GE, HSBC, British Airways, etc. India's inherent capabilities, talented workforce and work-class companies, availability of technically skilled and English-speaking labor force in the fraction of the cost of US, Europe, quality orientation, product and process management expertise, international resonation, opportunity to supply the global market in addition to serving the growing domestic demand. Size of the market, major IT and ITS companies and opportunities. Indian pharmaceutical industry is about the US about 13 million in 2006-7. India companies a significant position in the world pharmacy market, 8% by volume, fourth largest in the world, and 1% by value. The pharmacy industry exports over US 6 billion. It ranks 17% of the term's export value. India accounts for 22% of the global generics market. Some major issues of infrastructure with special relevance to rail and road transport. Venya said this. Introduction, development of Indian economy depends on the development of the transport sector. Greater needs required to improve the transport facility on affordable and reasonable price and impact of inflation. You could look at India versus the Western countries, rural versus urban, planning, investment, execution, implementation. Railroads plays a critical role in the economic development, largest in Asia and second largest in the world. Here's an example of Indian railroads. Indian railroads, 150 years of bringing people closer. Commercial time. And then you have railroad. Railroads and the plans. First plan, rehabilitation. Second plan, meet with growing demand due to increased production of agriculture and industrial sectors in the economy. Third plan, electrification and decentralization. Fourth plan, to modernize the railway equipment and practices. Fifth plan, track renewals in line capacity. Sixth plan, more revenue for rolling stock. Seventh plan, technical upgradation. Eighth plan, capacity generation. Ninth plan, long distance, bulk freight, and passenger traffic. 10th plan, regaining some of the business lost to the modes of transport. Railroads and plans. 11th plan, capacity enhancement, technologically upgradation. Third, achieving higher maintenance standards, safety, and passenger amenities. Problems and issues. Technology upgradation, expansion networks, financial arrangements, budgetary support, and absent. Tariff policy, passenger services, and freight movement, and many people being run over by trains. Advantages, convenient, faster, carrying heavy goods in large quantities, less affected by natural calamities. Limitations, can be expensive, remote parts, fixed, accidents, and stiff competition from private airlines. Budget, here's an example of somebody is the Indian railway minister. Some examples is gross earnings in 2009 and 10 estimated roughly around 8,281. A working expenditure in 2009 and 10 estimated 30,444. Road transport. Roads are generally classified as national railways, state railways, district roads, and rural roads. Road development in India, we can see Golden Quadrilateral, largest road network. And then we can see here 7,300 kilometers of 4 to 6 lane expressways connecting, cost the US about 12.317 billion. 59.12% project completion is October 2009. Importance, road transport in India as compared to railroads. Only means of transport to reach the nooks and corners of the country. Provides door-to-door service, better means of transport to carry perishable goods. Chances of delay and damages are less. Does not require heavy capital expenditures, defense of the country. A railroad coordination. Short routes versus long routes. Light versus bulky roads. Hence, rail and road are complementary to each other. Advantages of road transport. Cheaper mode of transport. Perishable goods at faster speed. Flexible mode and provides door-to-door service and helps people to travel and carry goods from and to hilly areas. And requires low capital. Limitations of road transport. Expensive, limiting carrying capacity. Natural calamities, huge consumption of fuel, and the cost of operation is higher. Risk accidents, tear, and wear. And then we have the union budget. Continue to lay stress on the physical infrastructure development. And next we'll talk about property rights. We have defined property rights as income stream, and property rights is a claim to benefit stream that's legally or conventionally enforceable and is socially recognized by another to convert the benefit stream. Assumption of microeconomics about property rights. Private property can easily be established and enforced. Transition cost is zero. Distribution of income under the PPP is socially referred to as complete property rights. Constitutes foundation of microeconomic theory like production, consumption, exchange. The PR is essential for voluntary exchange of goods and services. In case of scarcity of goods and services, weak PR conflicts. Depending upon the nature of the right, property is classified into 4 categories: private, state, open, and open access, nobody's property. Economic development resources are more valuable, scarce, and environmental, equity, and distributive effect of privatization. We have alternative resource management systems with privatization. It means creating private property rights to open access or common property and enforcing them. Privatization can be appropriate management system when the following conditions are met. Poor people, credit, new technology, damaging power, open all day, equity basis, benefit cost, government support, training, guidance, etc. Resources are easily divisible. Public management or nationalization. Experience are mix of terms and success and failure. CPR management fall under the conditions. Overexploitation, degradation should be avoided. Resources, national property not depleted. Investment technology required for conservation. Significant economies of scale. Government organization manage them, sensitive to local needs. Collective management, management by local people, conditions. Community users, CPR should be small, well-defined, humus, self-governing, set of rules mutually accepted and enforced. Rules for equitable sharing of benefits and costs, a system of sanctions against the variation of rules. Resources are not degraded. Government helps funds, technical information, trainings, etc. Supportive legal and political environment and equity. Private property regimes, ownership, individual companies, corporation, cooperative societies, privately owned cultivated land, products, crops, trees, fish, grass ponds, tank, irrigation wells, etc. Rights to consume or use, exchange, transfer by sale or lease, property rights, voluntary exchange efficiency. Policies, laws, law enforcement mechanisms, conventions, and contracts for transactions. In the context of agricultural land, loans from financial institution, long-term investment, increased use of purchase the new form inputs. State property regimes. If the rights of the property are vested in the state is known as state property. We have resource forests, protected forests, national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, national and state highway and railroads and minerals, oils, natural gas, rivers, lakes, etc. Managed by state government, rules and regulation, nationalization, administrative structure to manage resources, factors, interests of all people, ensure equity, sustainability in managing NR, investment funds, and internalize the externalities. Common property regimes. Common property means properties owned and common by identifiable group of people. Benefits commonly shared, social conventions, norms, legally enforceable rules, procedures for regulating its use, ecologically and socially sustainable resource. CPRs in India, common grazing land, revenue wasteland, village ponds and tanks, non-timber forest products, etc. Classification of the CPRs, semi-arid in zones, hills, deforest or forest tribal areas. CPRs are income-producing activities, managing a watershed as a common property, canal disruption of the resource benefits. We have factors of over exploitation of the SPR. We have loss of community control over the resource, commercialization, rapid population growth, and rapid technological change. Open access regimes. Open access property is defined as nobody's property or property for which property rights are defined. Free, unrestricted, no rules and regulation governing the use. Non-exclusive property and everybody's property. Alternative resource management system, privatization, public management, collective management, tenures in national resources, and effects and tendency. Lastly, we have capital market. Capital market, the market where investment instruments like bonds, equities, mortgages are traded, known as capital market. The primary role of this market is to make investment from investors who have surplus funds to the ones who are running a deficit. The capital market offers both long-term and overnight funds. The different types of financial instruments are traded in the capital market are equity instruments, credit market instruments, insurance instruments, foreign exchange instruments, and hybrid instruments, and derivative instruments. Nature of capital market. The nature of capital market is brought on by the following facts. It has two segments. It deals with long-term securities. It performs trade-off function. It creates dispersion in business ownership. It helps with the capital formation. It helps in creating liquefy. Types of capital market. There are two types of capital market, primary market and secondary market. Primary market is a market in which shares, debentures, and other securities are sold for the first time for collecting long-term capital. This market is concerned with new issues, therefore the primary market is also called new issue market. In this market, the flow of the funds is the savers of the borrowers, industries, hence to help directly the financial formation of the country. The monies collected from the market is generally used by the companies to monetize the planet, machinery, and buildings for expanding the business and for setting up new business unit. Features of primary market is related with new issues. It has no particular place, has various methods of float capital. Following methods are raising capital in primary market. Public use, offer for sale, private placement, right use, electronic initial public offer, and it comes before secondary market. The secondary market is the market by which the buying and selling of the previous securities is done. The transactions in the secondary market are generally done through the medium of stock exchange. The chief purpose of the secondary market is to liquefy the securities. It's also individual brought some security and how they want to sell it. He can do so through the medium of stock exchange. To sell purchase through the medium of stock exchange requires the service of the broker presently. Creates liquidify. It comes after primary market. It has a particular place and encourages new investments. Right. So we're done for today. Thank you so much, everybody. And don't forget to write your summary for this week. Bye.